She's a memory expert, but what if she forgets herself? Chapter 1. The Moment. The auditorium was packed, lights dimmed. A hushed excitement filled the air as the opening notes of the TED Talk theme echoed from the speakers. Dr. Elena Voss, the renowned neuroscientist whose work on memory reconstruction had redefined cognitive science, stepped onto the red circle. "Memory is not a filing cabinet," she began, her voice calm and precise. "It is more like a painting being restored again and again, each time a little different." The crowd listened, transfixed. On screen, animated neurons fired across synapses. She described the brain's hippocampus and how it played a central role in encoding experience. The audience nodded, tweeted, took notes. Then it happened. Dr. Voss paused. She looked around, confused. I don't remember what I was saying," she said. A nervous laugh rippled through the room. She blinked. "Who am I?" The room fell silent. Chapter 2. Shockwaves. News spread fast. The video was paused before it went live. Paramedics arrived. Dr. Voss was escorted off stage, pale and silent. Within hours, theories flooded the internet. Stroke, mental breakdown, psychological protest. But one group wasn't content to speculate. 4 graduate students at MIT's Cognitive Dynamics Lab had watched the live stream. Nora, Kay, Zaira, and Luis knew Dr. Voss personally. Nora had even been her TA. They gathered that night in the lab lounge, surrounded by textbooks, energy drinks, and half-assembled EEG headsets. "What if this wasn't a breakdown?" Nora asked. "What if it was part of her research?" "You think she faked a fugue state?" Luis raised an eyebrow. "She's been working on self-referential memory loops," Zaira said. "Remember that 2022 paper? The one about identity constructs and memory override algorithms?" Kay looked up from his laptop. "She once said, 'To fully understand memory loss, we might need to live it.'" Chapter 3. Clues in the data. The students formed an independent investigation. They accessed public records, university press releases, and published research. Every clue suggested 2 possibilities. Either Dr. Voss had suffered an acute episode, or she had intentionally induced a form of amnesia. They started with her last published article, which discussed the instability of autobiographical memory under induced neural interference, a method involving targeted transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, combined with immersive audiovisual triggers. She was experimenting on herself, Luis concluded. But why during a TED Talk? Chapter 4. The Visit. They needed answers. Nora reached out to Dr. Voss's assistant, May, under the guise of checking on her health. "She doesn't remember who she is," May said quietly. "She doesn't remember me, or her lab. She's calm, but blank." "Has she had a scan?" "Yes, no stroke, no tumors, perfectly normal brain activity." The group flew to Palo Alto, where Dr. Voss was being cared for at a private institute. Using academic credentials and a little charm, they were allowed to visit. She sat by a window, looking out at the garden. Her expression was serene but distant. "Hello, Dr. Voss," said Nora gently. She turned, smiling politely. "Do I know you?" "I'm one of your students. You taught me about episodic memory reconstruction." Voss tilted her head. "That sounds interesting." Kay stepped forward. "Do you remember giving a talk? At TED?" She blinked. "They told me I did. But I don't remember being there." Luis glanced at the others. "Can we show you something?" They played a short clip of the talk, the part before the interruption. Voss watched it silently. No recognition crossed her face. "It's like watching a stranger," she said. Chapter 5. Into her mind. Back at MIT, the group dug deeper into her unpublished notes. which May had agreed to share under strict conditions. One entry stood out. If the self is a construct built from memory, what happens when we remove the scaffolding? Can we observe a reassembly? Or does the structure collapse? Another read, "To understand memory loss, I must simulate it. Not partially, fully, no safety nets, only observation will follow." Nora leaned back, stunned. She did this to herself, on purpose. "But why the TED Talk?" Kay asked again. "It's public," Zaira said. She wanted witnesses. She wanted data from a real-world high-stress scenario. Luis nodded. And maybe she hoped someone would figure it out. Chapter 6. Reconstruction. They began documenting her recovery, with consent. They conducted interviews, ran non-invasive cognitive tests, and compared her baseline data from older lab recordings. At first, Voss remained distant from her past, but certain triggers began to stir reactions. A photo of her old dog, the smell of lavender oil, box partita number 1. 2. "That music makes me feel something," she said once, eyes moist. Over weeks, fragments returned, not in order, not clearly, but moments, laughs, a conversation, a memory of standing in a lab coat, holding a brain scan. "It's like I'm meeting myself again," she told them. As her awareness of her past self increased, so did her questions. She asked to read her own papers. She watched videos of her lectures. She cried when she read the first email she ever sent to Nora. Chapter 7. The Return. 9 months later, Voss released a new paper, co-authored with the 4 students. Its title, Intentional Identity Disruption, a first-person exploration of autobiographical memory collapse. She gave no interviews. The TED Talk was finally released, unedited. The world watched it with new eyes. Discussion spread far beyond neuroscience. Philosophers, ethicists, artists, and psychologists joined in. Had she gone too far? Had she risked too much? Or had she opened a door no one dared approach before? Nora, Kay, Zaira, and Luis went on to start their own lab. Its mission, to study not just how memory works, but what it means to forget. And Dr. Voss? She spoke again at TED the following year. This time she began with a smile. "I once forgot who I was. It was terrifying. It was beautiful. And it taught me everything.